Tell me, you're creative. You're creative. You are a writer.
Yeah.
You're a poet. I've come across you through the poems that I've seen you post on Instagram, and that was my into you. Tell me about that. Tell me about your creative journey, maybe.
I think for me, writing started as like a thing for me that was very cathartic. Like I just needed to speak to someone. And I don't think that my friends were going through the same issues as I was. I don't think that my family could really understand, even my sister, who I'm very close to. So it was very like difficult for me to find a space where I can like let go of this tension inside of me, especially when I started to question my sexuality and my gender identity and expression thereof. So I was like, social media for me was easy to access at the time. So I thought, let me start writing, Let me write about my sexcapades. Let me write about my gender identity.
I'd love to get into your sexcapades and your gender identity.
Everyone wants to.
Everybody wants to. It's a fascinating thing, like nowadays there's like all these conversations that are happening that would never happen when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm very awe-inspired when I read your works and when I read up on you, about how you identify or don't identify. So can you maybe just break it down a little bit for the people at home?
So I started off as Blazing Empress years ago, and that was because I thought I was an empress and whatever. But then I started seeing that people would be like, empress, and would like taste me in this label that I must wear a doek, and like it's great. I love doeks. I do wear it already. But what I mean is, it would place me in this space that makes me a woman only, And I'm like,
which is not how you feel.
Yeah, it's not how I'm feeling, Oh, empress that needs an emperor. It was kind of like, no, what if I want another empress? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then I was like, one day, I think this was about a year ago, I decided I am non-binary, not just because of my gender identity and expression, but I'm non-binary in terms of my sexuality as well. Nothing is binary. Nothing is black and white. Nothing is a single story.
Yes.
There's so many stories in between and so many facets and things that we need to take into consideration. And I think that's also where intersectionality, that new buzzword that everyone's using now, that's where that also comes in. So I was like, for me, nothing is binary.
Yeah.
I believe that my gender identity doesn't have to be that I need to wear a skirt and a dress and sit with my legs like this. I can do whatever. I can be masculine, I can be feminine, I can be anything on the spectrum. I can be lesbian, I can be straight, I can be bisexual, I can be pansexual. Pansexual being you love who you love.
Hello.
Yes, regardless of like people's genitals. Like,
yes,
if I love you, I love you.
Yeah.
So that is what I realized why I wanted to call myself non-binary, because nothing works in the binary.
For me, that works very well, the non-binary story, particularly now because I've got kids. And
they're so cute, by the way.
and I'm coming from that old world where it was so black and white. Everything was so black and white. It's very exciting for me that they've got people who are opening up spaces where you are who you are.
Yes.
And who you are is not going to be defined. And that's why I wanted to have this series, Black Girls. And here's my last question: does it feel weird to be in a feature called Black Girls?
Politics of race in this country.
And gender.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because you don't have to identify as she, you don't identify as her, you don't identify as a girl, and you're not black necessarily.
Especially in South Africa.
Yeah. So,
no, I actually have no issue with it, because my journey when it comes to my race is an interesting one. Like, when I was younger, I would always be like, I'm colored, because, I'm at school when people are just like, you're colored, and I'm one of a few kids who are colored. So I also needed a space where I felt like I belong when it came to being at school and, friends-wise. But then, as I grew up and I became more conscientized, I started to think, why are we colored? It's an apartheid term. And then I'm like, at this moment, I don't actually care anymore, because whether I see myself as black doesn't really matter, because other people don't see me as black. Supposedly, colored people don't see me as black. Supposedly, black people don't see me as black. So there's never a time where I'm like, oh, I can be with you, and I'm black, and people will be like, so now what does that mean? So it's been a weird journey for me, and I think for many other people who are so-called colored or who identify as being colored, it's a very strange space to navigate. And I think it will continuously throughout my whole life. It will be a strange journey. girls, like, I don't mind people calling me a girl. I don't mind people calling me a woman, you know, because that's how we're conditioned. We're told that if someone looks like a woman, we're going to call them a woman. We're going to call them she. We're going to call them her. There's no, like, space for us to understand that people have different pronouns, you know?
And your pronouns, if I'm
I use
correct,
they and them. But I
Yes.
also don't mind. For me, nowadays, I'm like, look, if you're going to call me by the pronouns she or her, I actually don't mind, especially if you're not using that to put me in my place.
Absolutely.
So that is my thing. If you're using terms and pronouns just because you refuse to call me by the pronoun that I told you to call me by, then I'm going to have a problem with you.
Yes.
But if we're in conversation and I know what context you're coming from, let's vibe. It's okay.
Let's vibe. We'll leave it at that. Kim, ladies and gentlemen, blazing non-binary, etc., 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 etc.
Everything in between.